3.
Welcome all to the 7th of March 2023 Councillor Feedback Forum. And on behalf of my councillor colleagues, we are very excited and pleased to be here this evening, and I will now open the forum at 7:02. Before I hand over to Council's Chief Executive Officer, Ms Alison Beckwith, who will read out some of the formalities for this evening's forum and share some background and context, including next steps and processes after the forum, I would like to read out our acknowledgement to country and our inclusive statement. Our meeting is being held on the traditional land of the Woiwurrung people, and on behalf of Banyule City Council, I wish to acknowledge them as the traditional custodians. I would also like to pay my respects to the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung elders, post, present and emerging, and acknowledge any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders elders present this evening. Council is committed to and values diversity within our community. I will now read Banyule's diversity statement that demonstrates our commitment. Our community is made up of diverse cultures, beliefs, abilities, bodies, sexualities, ages and genders. We are committed to access, equity, participation and rights for everyone. Principles which empower, foster harmony and increase the well-being of an inclusive community. And with that, I'll hand over to you, Alison.
Thank you, Mayor, and welcome all. My name is Alison Beckwith and I'm the Chief Executive Officer here at Banyule Council. It's great to see many of our community members here tonight joining us and listening from home via the live stream. I believe it's important to note that tonight's forum is not a formal council meeting. No formal agenda has been prepared and there are no officer recommendations, councillor debate or council decisions to be made tonight. This Councillor Feedback Forum has been established as an opportunity for people that submitted feedback on the Budget 2023-2027 document and Council Plan 2021 to 2025 Year 3 actions, to have their feedback heard by councillors prior to Council formally considering all feedback received and resolving on those items on the 17th of April Council meeting. Though there is no longer a requirement for Council to hear submissions, as was the case under the previous Section 223 of the Local Government Act 1989, allowing the opportunity for residents to speak to their written feedback in an open forum to councillors is considered important due to the historic precedent and community expectations to be able to speak with councillors about submissions that residents make. This opt-in process allows community members to go deeper into their feedback and provides councillors with a valuable opportunity to hear from community and understand the sentiment of the submissions. This feedback forum is also an important step in continuing to build trust, rapport and understanding between council and the community it serves. I will now take a moment to step out the process council has undertaken to date in relation to council's integrated planning project and outline the purpose of the Councillor Feedback Forum. Importantly, Council conducts community engagement of key planning and financial documents as part of the preparation for the annual budget and Council plan actions. As part of the preparing for the budget for the 23-27 and Council Plan 2021-25 Year 3 Action Plan, the following community engagement approach was used to enable Council to receive insight from what is important to the community. Council engaged in a longer period for earlier engagement and call for feedback on financial principles, the early release of the draft annual Capital Works Program and Initiatives Program, delivery of community information sessions, both online and face-to-face with community, and the retention of the opportunity for residents to speak to submissions via the Council Feedback Forum tonight. Community engagement occurred through mid-December 2022 to mid-March 2023. on the high-level financial principles, draft capital works program, draft initiatives program and council plan 2021 to 2025, which are the Year 3 actions. Feedback has been sought via council's engagement platform, Shaping Banyule, 2 online information sessions that were held on the 13th and 14th of December, and 2 further community drop-in sessions held in February this year. Shaping Banyule pages were open from the 20th of December through till the 2nd of March. During this time, a total of 64 pieces of feedback has been received on Shaping Banyule and 3 via resident emails. Of those 67, 16 provided feedback on council's plan Year 3 actions and 51 provided feedback on the budget document. 23 people have indicated that they would have liked an opportunity to speak tonight and after they participated in the feedback process, but tonight I believe that we have 16 residents that will be presenting to the councillor group tonight, noting that there is a chance that there could be some last-minute changes as we move through due to personal circumstances for some. Following tonight's hearing of the feedback, council officers will assess all feedback and provide recommendations to the councillor group. Formal consideration of community feedback to the draft plans and officer recommendations will occur at the council meeting to be held on the 17th of April 2023. The full draft budget, draft council plan, Year 3 actions and draft revenue and rating plan will be presented to council on the 29th of May 2023 for final exhibition. The proposed adoption of the budget and associated plans is scheduled for the 26th of June at Council's ordinary meeting held that night. For those of you in attendance tonight, I'd like to highlight that this forum, whilst being held in person, is also being live streamed via Council's website and Facebook pages. The live stream is not interactive. Any comments or private messages while the live stream is active will not be presented to the council group or have any bearing on tonight's forum. Rules for participation during public participation tonight is that each speaker has been given an opportunity to address the council group in person or submit a video or audio recording to be played on the residents' behalf. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to speak and the timer in front of me will be used to help you understand the time. A warning will sound at the 2.5 minute mark, allowing speakers to sum up for the last 30 seconds if they require to. I just remind the gallery that no statement may be derogatory, defamatory or directed to an individual councillor, member of staff, ratepayer or member of the public. Bear with me. Questions from the speakers will not be permitted. However, councillors may wish to ask clarifying questions if they have so of those that are providing feedback tonight. Questions asked as part of the feedback process that may have been included in any written submissions that have been received from the public will be considered and officers will supply answers to those questions to the council group prior to the 17th of April council meeting. I will now introduce those in attendance tonight. I'll start with the councillors, and to my right I have the Mayor, Councillor Peter Castaldo, Councillor Fiona Mitsonikos, Councillor Rick Garotti and Councillor Elizabeth Neely. And to my left I have Councillor Alida McKern, Councillor Tom Malikan and Councillor Alison Champion. I will note that Councillor Mark Di Pasquale is on his way and will be joining us soon. Also tonight we have our executive team, who's over to the right, and we have Natasha Swan, Director of City Development, Darren Bennett, Director of Assets and City Services, Kath Brackett, Director of Community Wellbeing, and Mark Giglio, Director of Corporate Services. Also joining us tonight are members of our governance team, communications advocacy, community engagements team, finance team, and our JETS team coordinating the live stream. Before we commence, I'd like to thank you for participating in tonight's forum. And on behalf of the council group, we value the time that you've actually taken to prepare your submissions and to be here with us tonight or tune in at home, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you, Mayor.
Great, thank you, Alison. But before we start tonight, an important note is apologies for this evening. Unfortunately, Councillor Demolaros has conflicting arrangements and is not able to join us this evening. However, I'm sure he will listen to the feedback and either by live stream or via the recording. And before we hear from submitters, it is important for councillors to keep front of mind our obligation under the Local Government Act 2020 regarding the conflict of interest provisions that we must adhere to. Even though this is not a decision-making forum, councillors are required to declare interests that they may have, whether that is a general or material conflict of interest in any other meeting organised by council, resourced by council or arranged by council support. This applies to briefings, public consultations and forums such as this. Councillors, should you believe that there is a material or general conflict of interest that exists regarding any of the speakers and their submissions, you need to declare these interests now and leave the forum prior to the submitter speaking on such items. You will be invited back to the forum once the submission closes. Do we have any conflicts of interest? No. I also ask staff here present to declare any such interests now or throughout the forum should one arise. As the CEO mentioned, we have 16 people who have registered their interest to speak tonight. I will call out individual speakers in the order I have been given and will ask for you to either come to the lectern or to have a recording played if not present in person. After each speaker, I will ask if any councillor has any questions. When you have completed your 3 minutes, please wait at the lectern while we determine if any questions are required. Only those that register to speak may be heard this evening. If a person arrives late, I will invite them to speak at the end of the list as well. We will now begin this evening. Good luck to everyone. I will start with our first speaker for the evening, and that is Andrew Tupper or Claire Flynn, please, from Montmorency Community Hub.
I would like to acknowledge the Wurrung and Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. Sovereignty was never ceded. The Monty Hub project is only possible through their dispossession. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. We acknowledge enthusiastic support from councillors and council staff for the Monty Hub project thus far. We acknowledge the recent urgency motion and the support expressed in discussion around that motion. We are not a difficult or a complicated problem to solve. We are the answer, not the problem. We have the knowledge, determination and skill to get there, and we want to maintain our vision for a community designed and run and operated hub. It is the relational work of the community building the Monty Hub that is the heart of this project. Problem solving, caring, bringing people out of their houses and or their busy lives, sending care packages when COVID or other misfortune happens. Imagining and making a world that we all want to live in. People are welcomed as they are to the Monty Hub. This is a place-based project, a community shed, where the relationships and activities that take place here, and because of this place, will help reduce social isolation and improve connections in the Banyule community. The Montmorency community has a long history of campaigning for such a shared space. Council's infrastructure review also demonstrates the need for accessible multi-purpose community spaces. We know that the Monty Community Hub is able to repay the best return on investment we seek from a secured loan. We can do this through cost savings compared to the council purchasing land and building new. Our intended outcomes match those of the Banyule Community Vision 2041, inclusive and connected community, sustainable environment, well-built city, valued community assets and facilities, and a thriving local community. This offering will benefit the whole of the Banyule City Council and beyond, and such a partnership would be the envy of every local authority in this country. The board has taken the position that it's fiscally responsible to make contingency plans for sale to protect the social and financial investments made by the community already. But we remain flexible, responsive, open and committed to the community that we represent. The Monty Hub is not a hard problem to solve. We are doing the relational work that communities have done all throughout history. We join together for a shared purpose and to take care of each other. We have done this under the pressure of a global pandemic and through an economic downturn. I'm going to run over. We do not want to lose this community asset that's creating social benefits for the community and harnessing extraordinary volunteer effort at a time when money is scarce, and your own audit has found we are addressing a gap that exists. We conservatively estimate a $700,000 volunteer replacement cost in the effort in the last 2 years. More importantly, research tells us people who experience the benefits of volunteering have a better quality of life. I can attest that my quality of life has improved considerably through my involvement in this project, despite a few sleepless nights. We call the risk of losing this community asset an emergency, and we know when governments respond to emergencies, it's common to offer low or interest-free loans. Today, we ask the Banyule City Council to offer the same financial mechanism or a similar alternative. We can pay back the ratepayers. We are asking the Council to enable us to bring about good social outcomes and benefits to the community in line with the Council's own vision for 2041. We urge you to act now to save this community asset, to demonstrate trusted and responsive leadership. You deal with many complex problems. This is a solvable problem.
Can we please wrap up?
At a low cost and low risk to ratepayers. Our visions align. We continue to hold space that Council will share our path forward. We look forward to working with you and the community in the coming weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. Could you just wait a second? Do any councillors have a question for the Speaker? No, thank you. Next speaker is Benjamin Charles. Would you please make your way to the lectern? Is anyone coming back there? No? All right. Maybe later. We now move on to Chris Horsley from Heidelberg West Business Park.
Good evening, everybody. I'm just here, welcome, to discuss Heidelberg West Business Park. Thank you for your ongoing support over the past 4 or 5 years. We have started this year with a renewed vigour after COVID-19 and are keen to implement new strategies within the business park to grow the businesses and improve the facilities in the area. Over the past 12 months, we've seen our membership base grow to just under 200 members. We've broadened our social media campaign on Facebook and Instagram to encourage local community people to know that the Heidelberg West Business Park is in our council area and to use the local businesses because there are a lot of people there that we don't know about. We've also held networking events with local businesses to improve their exposure within the community. We've also, in the last 12 months, erected a gateway sign on the corner of Doherty Road and Waterdale Road to let people know where the park is. We've also had our annual Christmas party late last year where we had Dave O'Neill compere the evening, which was a great success and everybody really enjoyed themselves. We have also appointed a new precinct manager who's got a lot of enthusiasm and ideas to grow the association within the park and provide new activities. And we have also recently obtained some grants from state government to help us fund some of these workshops. For the coming 12 months, we are implementing a 4-workshop social media plan where we're going to invite businesses to attend and to understand how to utilise Facebook and Instagram to their advantage and be able to grow their businesses. We're also going to be implementing some bulk buying opportunities for business owners so that they can hopefully make some savings on electricity bills, infrastructure and other things. We have also will continue to review our sustainability options. We're really keen to try and push forward solar panels on a lot of the businesses' roofs because there's a lot of space that is underutilised and would be well used for solar. And if we could get a solar battery in the area, that would be fantastic. We're also looking to hold a vintage car show within the park to expose all of the businesses relating to cars, as well as having stalls for the local cafes and food businesses to exhibit their products. Just quickly summing up, we understand that budgets are tight at the moment, so we have tightened our budget and hope that you will agree and accept our recommendations. We are also looking at ways to become self-funded, whether that be a rate scheme or something similar, so that funding can be distributed over various areas. So finally summing up, thank you for your time and hopefully you'll continue to support us into the future. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in tonight. Does the councillor have a question? Councillor McKern?
In the absence of the ward councillor, given that I'm from the council, from your ward, my apologies.
That's all right.
However, I am in the ward next door.
Yep.
And in Chelmsford, and exciting times by the sounds of it, Chris.
Yes.
I'd like to know, there's a lot of things you were talking about there.
Yep.
What your vision for the business park is.
Our vision is to expose it to the broader community. It seems to be a bit of a forgotten business park or industrial estate as it previously was known. So we would like the Banyule community as well as Melbourne metropolitan and international community to know that we're there. We've been working closely with a lot of the key stakeholders in the area with the Latrobe Neek precinct plan that we're collecting ideas and presenting them to state government in the hope that they will also provide some additional funding and infrastructure works to not only the business park but to the greater precinct of the Latrobe Neek.
Do you think you could fit a few trees in, or that's not possible?
Well, we would love to put new trees. I know the council has already done a tree planting program within the business park and putting in on nature strips that are acceptable for trees to be planted so that it becomes a greener environment because it is quite stark within the park.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Chris.
Cheers.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Malikan?
You did mention you're working with Latrobe, and we've had a presentation the other week from Latrobe about their plans, and you're also part of the National Employment Cluster with Latrobe, what the area you represent, and also the Austin. So can you tell us how your relationship with Latrobe is going and how they expect that they will generate businesses which will grow into your area?
Yeah, so I know there are a lot of project schemes that La Trobe Uni is coming up with, and they are looking for local businesses and people to take on those ideas and bring them into fruition. And there has been a lot of interest from La Trobe Uni to engage with the business park in the hope that we can work together as a team and grow those ideas and make them practical and put them into production.
That's it? Okay, thank you for coming in tonight.
Thank you, cheers.
We now move on to Francis Valente and Greg from Watsonia Tennis Club.
He skipped it on purpose, mate. We're good here?
Yeah.
All right. My name's Francis Valenti. This is Greg. I have been the treasurer of Watsonia Tennis Club for the last 12 months. Greg's been a member receiving coaching lessons down at the club for about the same time. You can go to the next one. I don't have a clicker with me. So basically, we applied to the North East Link Grant Community Fund, looking to make our change rooms and clubhouse accessible to people in wheelchairs. And I'll get Greg's been the catalyst for much of this conversation. As it stands, the bathrooms inside the club rooms and the change rooms themselves are not accessible to people who are in wheelchairs. Now, we've received about $91,000 from the North East Link Grant Community Fund, and what we're seeking to do is hand that over to Council so we can do a collaborative project which will include the upgrade of the bathrooms and the change rooms that we have at the club to make those accessible to everybody who's using the club. Overall, you look at Banyule and the tennis courts that exist within Banyule, mostly onto cart, if not synthetic grass. We have the advantage of having 4 hard courts, which I'm sure you'll attest, mate. Those are the only ones that your wheels will spin on. Yes. Yep. And we saw that as an opportunity to engage that section of the community. So outside of that, and I think the last point we've got up there, and we demonstrated this to ourselves at our recent Christmas party. Non-wheelchair users using wheelchairs and participating in wheelchair tennis, heaps of fun, new challenge, and just about a new sport for a lot of people who are already engaged in our club or maybe in the future. I've played a couple of matches against Greg. He absolutely whooped me, but outside of that, we think that's another prospect. But for us to have, we know across the community there's a lot of people who are in a similar situation to Greg in a chair, and I'm really grateful that Greg's able to be able to make it in, as difficult as it is with the pass that exists at the moment and the accessibility that exists at the moment. But we would really love to open that door to a lot of other people who are in this similar situation, given that the 4 hard courts put us in a great position to do that, if I could. So basically, and I know this is a very simple pie graph, but I bet that to people working on council, it looks a lot better than a lot of pie graphs you get presented with. The blue is what we're putting in, and the red's what we're asking from you. And anyone who's been working with council for a decent period of time would know that that's a pretty big blue chunk for what we're asking for. If we could, I'd like to give Greg a moment to speak. How long have we got left?
You've already gone over, but have a go, Greg.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about what participating in tennis on a regular basis. You're at least once a week at the moment. What's that done for you?
Look, personally, I'd like to do it a lot more often, but it's all about, firstly, let me just say to you all, isn't this place a beautiful place? Hello. Firstly, let me just say, isn't this Banyule place a beautiful place? Accessibility is perfect. Toilets, perfect. It's all flat. I don't go over bumps, I don't fall down, I don't do this, I don't do that.
This building is great, yeah.
This building is great. Let's look at other places. You do not have to be disabled or in a wheelchair to fall over there at those tennis courts and crack your head open or do whatever. You do not have to be disabled to do that. But when you are disabled, you look at those things. You look at every little crack. You look at every little bump. You look at everything. I just want to say, please, do not ever become like me and say, shit, we should have done that. 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 We should have fixed those cracks in the road. We should have fixed the footpaths. I don't ever want to wish this upon anyone. But unfortunately, it does happen. Unfortunately, it does happen. Now, accessible toilets at the tennis court, there's nothing there. But I try and do the best I can. I try and do the best I can. It's just another burden on me and a lot of other people. Because let me tell you, I'm not the only disabled person. I'm not the only disabled person. There's a lot of us out there. And each one of us here in the room, each one of us, everyone has got some type of form of disability. If you really think of it. It's your anxiety, your depression, your this, your that. Everybody's got some type of disability in them. But I'm a big person, I'm a big believer. Don't look at a person's disability, look at the ability that person has. And that's where I'm going to leave it right now.
Thank you. Councillors, do we have any questions? Councillor Di Pasquale.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. If I can just ask Francis or Greg, are there any plans or costings that have already been done up?
Yes, there are. We've worked over the past couple of months with Christina Grayland and Matthew, is it Thium from Capital Works, and they've costed out everything for us. So we believe that the total project cost is what we've been told by Christina and Matt would be in the range of 250,000. But we would be willing to make a variation to our agreement with the North East Link Fund to put our entire grant, 91,000 odd, into that, and council could fund the rest. And obviously remembering this is something that's done in consultation and collaboration with the North East Link management as well. So we'd be willing to hand it over. We'd hand over project management, just in the interest of making it as easy as possible, in order to have it done all at once. Because I think that one of the points that this came from originally was it's all well and good for us to make a deck and a ramp and make our change rooms accessible, and that eats up our $91,000, as we've been told. So Greg can get in the change rooms. You can't get into a bathroom in there. So from the conversations that we've had with Christina and Matt, it would just make sense to hand it over to you guys and have it all done at once.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? No. All right. Thank you for coming in tonight.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Grant Flack and Murray Noble.
Thank you for having us here today. Got some PowerPoint up there as well, thank you. We're really pleased to be here tonight because we're very grateful of the proposed drainage works at Loyola Reserve in Bundoora. Watsonia Baseball Club and Bundoora Oak Creek Club have been long-term tenants of the ground. Both clubs are north of 50 years old, or we are next year, and drainage, the oval's been there for over 80 years and it's never had drainage, so every year it becomes a mud pit. So we're really happy about the drainage that is planned in the budget, and here to support that. There is one other project though, or two other projects we want to bring to Council's attention though for next year's budget, and we wanted to use this forum to do that. The short version is that the clubs are both A-grade clubs. We're both competing in winter and summer at the high. Both have 11 teams, juniors and seniors. Plenty of kids, state programs, national programs. We've had a couple of guys go pro in America for the baseball club. We're really grateful of the support that the council and that Rick's been very much a big part of in regards to new training facilities and the club rooms over the years. But one of the biggest things that is holding us back is the condition of the ground. It's very much unplayable in winter. There is two major projects that we think can fix this. We brought those to council's attention over 6 years ago. Darren was around in that period. Alison was a part of that, Brett Yost, around the west side of the ground, which we'll go into now. There's two major projects. First of all is removing the row of sugar gums on the west side boundary and moving there's a dilapidated bluestone wall that's been falling down over years. It must have been built in the 60s or 70s, we think. The short is that, you can't quite see in that graphic, that pre-Victoria 150 metre boundaries, the walls on both sides are 48 metres. As you'll see in the next photos, on the next slide, that you can't go to 48 metres. First of all, the cricket will give you, the governing bodies want 1.5 metres from a boundary. That's about 5 metres of rocks, of sticks, of bark, of sand. The grass does not grow. So the cricket club plays at 43 metres on one side. Every week they have to go out there, pick up the sticks. The trees take all the grass. The grass will never grow. And that's something that's been clear for a very long time. The next photo shows that from the top. And even around to the right there, you can see the condition of the grass in the bottom right-hand corner. Grass just doesn't grow on the ground. Irrigation was put in a couple of years ago. It's not quite working for us. And the next slide shows that as well, which is from the back. The second part of the project is an artificial infield for the baseball club, which is the next slide goes on to, where we play April to September. Grass doesn't grow in September. Last year we lost 5 rounds, and this is under 17s or 15s plus 2 senior teams. We couldn't play at our ground. We either forfeited or we scrounged around for another ground. We couldn't play finals at our ground. We're an A-grade club playing A-grade finals. We couldn't use our ground. Training, we can't train on it because we have to protect whatever mess we have for game days. Often we wouldn't play the early games just to try and get an A-grade game at the end of the day. So we had a meeting a couple of weeks ago. The new 4th generation artificial grass is now recyclable. It's only just come out a couple of months ago. We talked to Brett about that as well. This is the surface we play on last year. It's mud, it's dirt, it's hodgepodge. I'm not sure even what sort of grass it is, but it needs to be rebuilt. The 4th generation grass, I think, Mark, you'd like this, it's recyclable. We're talking 40 by 40 metres, essentially that square in the corner there. Transitions are seamless, it's not a tripping hazard. Thank you, the next slide. There's no chemicals, no watering. The short is, and I know Brett would love me to say that the payback's within 10 years. It'll be less than that, it'll probably be 7, but this should last 15, 20 years. So, and obviously we can train on it, we can play on it, people don't trip over, people don't fall. We'd work with a cricket club, which we have a very good relationship, probably not as good as, well, probably the best out of any sort of summer and winter transition clubs. And finally, the next slide talks about how, that's another photo of the second base, you can see we cover it over summer, but it does transition through. There's runners coming through. Thank you. And that's basically the area we're looking at having artificial as well. So it's just in the corner there. And the next slide, Sustainable Services was a 2016-31 document from Council. Alternative surfaces, synthetic, where high use is not sustainable with natural surfaces, that's us, pure and simple. That is our ground. So again, thank you for the opportunity to support the drainage program. That's really important to us, but hopefully we can work together on the next project, which is very important for both clubs.
Great, thank you for coming in tonight.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions? Councillor Melican?
Yeah, thanks for that. Do know this area quite well. Have you had these projects costed? Had any indicative costings?
Indicative would be about moving the trees, moving the wall back, soil, re-engineering. That might be 70, 80,000. The baseball diamond would be, well, the artificial would probably be about 240. We are talking to Colin Brooks about working with North East Link for next year's budget as well. And that is about $250 per square metre for the artificial, whereas turf is about 150 plus for maintenance and so forth. That's where that break even comes from. Maintenance contract, the supplier like Tiger Turf would come in twice a year. We've already talked to Concord School who'd use that oval every single day, and Jason, the principal, is very supportive of that because they'd use it. We'd also talk to Loyola College because they use that ground every single day. They probably don't tell council that. And we'd see if they'd contributed some of those maintenance costs as well. Otherwise, we'd put a sinking fund together to look after that as well.
Thank you. Another question, Councillor Garotti.
Yeah, thank you. What's Loyola College using the ground for? I wasn't aware that they were using it.
Well, they made us play a few games here or there. They've got softball they play there, and we see them wandering across. And as you know, Concord School uses the oval every day as their playground, and they also use the club rooms for teaching cooking classes as well and doing meetings as well. So I think Loyola Colleges, I've seen they're doing some softball games there.
And they've played cricket there as well in the past.
But you didn't hear that from us.
No.
Recorded, by the way.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We going?
Next we have Jody Zutt and Jared McLean. This will be a video presentation, I think.
Hi, yeah, I was just going to speak for 30 seconds and then run the movie. Go for about 2.5 minutes. Good evening, everyone. I'm here to discuss the topic of pedestrian safety. Specifically, I'm here to represent the residents of St Helena Road who have signed a petition requesting of the Banyule Council a safer pedestrian environment along St Helena Road. St Helena Road has a high number of cars moving at speed around several blind corners going up and down hills with not enough safe road crossings for pedestrians. We all want a safer, more inclusive and more accessible community, so let's watch this short video clip and learn together. Thank you.
Good morning. I live at 235 St Helena Road. Crossing the road here is an absolute disaster. Very
Yeah, we'll just try that one again. One minute.
dangerous. When I catch the bus, now I catch it up to St Helena shopping centre and around and down.
Sorry, Jared, we'll just see if we can get that going, and if we can't, we can make it available to all the councillors anyway, and we can load it on our community forum page tomorrow if we can't get it started. We'll just check with the staff how they're going.
I live at 55 Councillor Road. Crossing the road is a disaster. I live at 55 very dangerous. When I take the bus, crossing the road, up to St. Shopping Centre on the round and down. Very dangerous. That's 20 minutes. But will not go up to St.
I think increasingly road safety at some of the roads is really important. It's important for me, and I believe it's important for the community. I think increasingly road safety.
On Aqueduct Road, which is basically an extension of St Helena Road, and he acquired a permanent brain injury. I've done a flyer drop down St Helena Road, and I've spoken with all the locals along the way. Keith was one of them, and there was many elderly people that expressed their concerns about the road, and they said they wouldn't cross it. Keith was actually saying that he catches a bus, 20 minutes takes him, and he does a loop just across because he doesn't trust the road because it's blind corners where he is and he's got bad knees. So yeah, and I've got a cousin who's autistic who frequently crosses that road as well. So yeah, I've got a bit of history with that road, you could say. But yeah, it's just, I personally, when I'm driving along it, think it's dangerous. Other people in the community are saying it's dangerous, so I think we need to address it. That's about it.
Thank you. Apologies for the media this evening.
That's all right. I've also got a petition that has 458 signatures, and a lot of them are local.
Very good. Yeah. All right. We've got a question for you, Councillor Garotti.
Yeah, thank you for that. Just wondering what the thinking is from the community around how to fix the problem. Is it around putting a pedestrian crossing in, or where's the thinking gone there?
Yeah. So there's a couple of ways of looking at it. Just we would like to have a pedestrian crossing that has many signs saying, you know, crossing coming up, pedestrian crossing coming up, just so that people are looking for pedestrians around blind corners. Possibly some tree removals around the blind corners, or cutting them back at least. Or speed humps, just anything that will make it safer for pedestrians, really. But obviously the ideal is a crossing with lights, and yeah.
Any other questions? No. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
Next we have John Walkley.
Thank you all. I want to address you on the subject of inequity. Inequity in the raising of rates is a well-accepted thing in local government. High property values pay high rates, that's it. The degree of inequity in the spend of the accumulated rates is not acceptable. There is inequitable distribution across Banyule of current assets and consequently of service delivery, and that needs to be addressed by you as a council. The demography of Banyule is changing. The south is primarily where the traffic, parking and people congestion is worsening at the greatest pace. I know you've all got hassles. In the south, we get the city exiting traffic first and get the greatest congestion. The amount of rates raised in the south has always been high because it's an affluent and desirable area. There is a large volume of high value properties, high rates, that's accepted. The proportion of total rates raised is increasing in the south with the creation of more high value rateable properties on subdivided smaller blocks. The upshot of that is that it's relieving the rate pressure, might not feel like it, but it is, relieving the rate pressure in the rest of Banyule. Finite amount of rates allowed to be under the rate capping, more is being raised in the south, subtract what's raised in the south from the total, less is being raised proportionately in the north. The nature of Eaglemont, suburb where I live in Ivanhoe, but just across the railway line, and parts of East Ivanhoe, parts of Ivanhoe itself, and parts of Heidelberg is changing from stately homes on large blocks into multi-unit developments. I've pounded the pavements and done a head count of properties in 3 streets adjoining the Eaglemont village. 110 surveyed blocks, street-facing blocks. 53 of them currently have single dwellings on them, and the total number of dwellings on those 110 blocks is 282. The suburb is changing. This is leading to a different population mix because it is not the affluent, the landed gentry who come and live in these smaller apartments. It is young, childbearing families. It is retired, elderly people or women coming from marriage bust-ups. They need different services to what you traditionally comprehend as needed in an affluent area of big houses, stately homes, large blocks of land. Popular culture is to redistribute from the haves in our society to the have-nots. In terms of council facilities and services, the south is the have-nots. That is fact, it is empirical, it is evidence-driven. There is a structural inequity in our whole local government operation. There is a coalescing of purpose, of identity, of skills, of resources in sporting clubs, and out there in the rest of the population, the people in the street, the families adjoining sporting facilities come neighbourhood parks are not as organised, not as powerful, not as articulate. So as a council and as officers of council, I'd ask you to remember that when you are dealing with pleas for large spends for small sporting organisations.
Could we please sum up soon?
The draft capital works program budget, 98% is allocated to renewing, upgrading and or expanding existing facilities. 2% for anything new. So those who have can keep putting in bids for more, better, newer, more accessible, whatever. Those who have missed out over the last 170 years of local government organisation in this area are perpetually kept out and excluded. Inclusion is a very popular term. I'd ask you to address who is being excluded. Right at the start, Councillor, or I should say Mayor Castaldo, used the phrase equity and access rights for everyone. Please think about geographical implications of that. South of Bell Street, Banksia Street, we have some equity and access issues as well.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for the Speaker? Councillor McKern.
Presentation. In relation to more equitable services and their distribution through the municipality, do you have specific examples that you're thinking of that the South would benefit from, and could you share those with us?
Sure. The simple thing of public toilets. On a Sunday morning, I do a Heart Foundation Walks program as a social inclusion issue in our neighbourhood. One of our walkers is 85 years of age. She is a little dynamo. She won't be socially isolated. She comes out. She carries with her 2 sets of incontinence underwear. Because on Sunday mornings in the south of Banyule, unless you can get to a coffee shop, no public toilets are accessible to her. So that is an example, that distribution of open and maintained public toilets. Low end of local government issues, but there it is. At the higher end, childcare centres, community centres, parks that people can walk to. We have a lot of people in our area who do full day care for preschool children whilst both parents of the children work. They don't get given access to the car pod or car seat appropriate for the child. So they're stuck with the pusher if they can manage that, and you need to have worked for NASA to be able to organise some of the pushers for different kids. But we see people who need walking distance access to local parks. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, break the syndrome, distract the kid, give the parents the grandparent a bit of a break. We do not have those walking distance things, exacerbated by the terrain. You can't do anything about the hills, the railway line, they're just there. But we need easier access to those sort of facilities. The distance for older people who would go to a senior citizens club or a community centre is too much for them to walk over. People tell me they are anxious about driving from Eaglemont into Ivanhoe for the parking issues, the traffic congestion, and then finding a park, getting back. They won't walk, can't ride bikes. So making things local is important to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? No, thank you. Next up we have Kelvin Kamanji. I'll re-say that. It's Kelvin Kamanji. No? Kamangai. Not here. Okay. We'll come back. Next time I'll get it right. Next up is Mark Poinder. Not here. Someone that is here is Marianne Coffey and Liz Boyden. Please make your way to the lectern.
Good evening. I'm Elizabeth Boyden. I'm President of Eaglemont Village Traders Association. Eaglemont Village is the smallest, oldest and certainly most unique shopping centre in the Banyule region, if not Victoria. What most people do not realise, it's also one of the most economically buoyant strips with no commercial premises available for sale or for lease. And when a property does become available for lease, it's generally snapped up within a few weeks. However, the general public perceive Eaglemont Village as going bad, down and out, or a ghost town, whilst they're complaining about not being able to get a car park. The main reason people have this opinion of Eaglemont Village is due to the derelict construction site at number 75 Silverdale Road. It all began when the property, which was Paul Martin's, who was there for 46 years, he hung up his scissors and sold the building, with new owners intending to create a small family restaurant on the site. Whilst due diligence was carried out by both parties in the planning process, no forethought was given to how the construction would impact the visual landscape of our small community. Demolition of the site commenced in April 2006, with an initial concrete pour in May 2016. Then complaints were lodged from neighbouring properties and all the works ground to a halt. And that's where the stories ended. The abandoned site was crudely barricaded with freestanding temporary fence that was covered in tattered shade cloth. In the end, it was left to EVTA to take the initiative of sourcing, organising and funding fixed hoarding solution as a duty of care to our public. No responsibility has ever been undertaken by the property owners, nor have they been made accountable for the eyesore. Over the years, EVTA has dressed up the hoarding with various imagery and a notice board, to which got short-lived admiration, but also attracted graffiti. As the old saying goes, you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. Doesn't matter how much time, money or effort EVTA spends dressing up the hoarding, everyone still sees a derelict site. Regardless of all the wonderful community events EVTA hosts, the number one thing locals talk about day in and day out is the infamous hole in the wall, as it's been dubbed. That's all they see. It's been burnt into their subconscious over the years. It has sucked the ambience and the vitality from our village, and the traders are worn out from the negativity it generates from the community. And as if we hadn't learned our lessons from the past, we are naively allowed defacing of another visual landscape to continue with the demolition of number 80 Silverdale Road. Formerly one of the beating hearts of the community, Glenn, the beloved butcher, hung up his apron and opted for a life of retirement. He sold his property in November 2019 and the business closed in March 2020. 12 months down the track, in March 2021, the site was demolished. Fortunately, this time the facade was salvaged, but, sorry, I lost my spot, but 2 years on progress is extremely slow. Now we have another eyesore to tolerate and for locals to constantly pass comment on. Such a situation would have gone unnoticed in other areas such as Ivanhoe, Greensborough or Heidelberg. Eaglemont Village's intimate setting, they stick out like sore toes. Enduring 2 years of lockdowns and recovering financially has been extremely challenging for all, but this second body blow is definitely taking its toll on traders' mental health. EVTA is asking for help to make these two eyesores disappear, convert them from distractions into attractions. Past experiences prove that simply replacing the hoarding imagery at 75 won't work. People see a demolition site. We're talking about completely disguising the hole in the wall with artificial foliage from the entire under-awning through to the footpath. Our vision is to create a green space or a mini pop-up park. And excuse my very crude photoshopping. Not only will people get a dose of green therapy, but the green tactile product will deter further graffiti. Number 80 can also be treated similarly with artificial foliage fixed behind the glass or another option is to cover it with a mural. Judging by the pace of the build on the site at number 80, completion is still another 12 months away. So let's turn this into a beauty spot. And the reality is number 75 will remain a demolition site for the next 2 to 3 years, even if it's sold tomorrow. We need to work to a plan B, preferably sooner than later. We've already wasted 7 years waiting and hoping. Now is the time to act. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for coming in. Do we have any questions for the Speaker? I might jump in then. So how much is it for the two shops dressing them up in total?
The foliage one at number 75 is around 15,000. We've had plant image in Ivanhoe East quote on that. The cheaper option for number 80, we're just doing a mural, is about 2,500.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Patrick Turnbull from Farm Raiser. Thank you.
Alrighty, thanks for having me. Good evening. Farm Raiser is Kirsty, Patrick, Charlotte, Eve and Caitlin. And we started the farm in 2018 with big dreams to positively impact our local food system and unknowingly have a local, social and community impact. FarmRaiser aligns with many of the Council's strategies, policies and action plans, including the Social Enterprise Action Plan from 2025 as a recently formed social enterprise. We all wanted to work outside and grow great veg for the local community, all while having a practical impact through regenerative agriculture to increase biodiversity and on a natural water and carbon cycles. We're also motivated by the need to make good quality food more accessible and to make farming a more inclusive career path to people of all abilities. Inclusive Local Jobs Strategy 2020-2025 states that it would like to create 1,000 local jobs for local people experiencing barriers to employment. Situated at a special developmental school, with some help from Council, we're well placed to provide some of those employment opportunities. We are located on previously underutilised space at the school in Belfield. This fits into Banyul's Public Open Space Plan 2016-2031 under Pillar 5 Diversity. We sell to local grocers, farmers markets, a farm gate and to a veg box program, which includes 10 free of charge community boxes to those who couldn't usually afford our produce and 8 sovereign boxes to people to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. The trade of our produce allows us to operate and pay the bills with the long-term aim of being financially self-sufficient. The Community Climate Action Plan 2020 names a circular economy as a priority action, and local food production is stated as a way to achieve this. Any profits made will be directed toward our food education programs in partnership with Waratah Special Developmental School. We do more than sell veggies. We really love growing food, good quality local food, and we work really hard to do so for reasons greater than really yummy carrots. The very big purpose of our very little farm is to positively influence and improve the health of both humans and the environment via a more fair and just food system. This aligns with Banyul's Municipal Health Wellbeing Plan 2021 to 2025. Every Friday between 10 a.m. to 4 p.m, we open our beautiful farm gate stall full of fresh veggies and other local food items for you to buy as little or as much as you like. Take what you need and pay what you can. Suggested prices are listed for each item bunch, and we trust that people will pay what suits them at that period of time. This farm gate fits the wishes of the Council to become a 20-minute neighbourhood. FarmRaiser is also incredibly excited about the upcoming food strategy, urban food strategy. What we ask of Council is to support us financially through the initiatives program to continue to do the good work it is already doing, and to continue meeting a multitude of Council's own strategies, policies and action plans. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
No worries.
Do we have any questions for the Speaker? Councillor Neely?
Just a quick one. Just how wide of a net are you casting for the community around you?
Yeah, okay, so we do up to 80 veggie boxes a week, and so they include the 10 or the 18 free boxes, and they go to families all throughout Banyul City Council. We have a farm gate. We don't have exact numbers, but that reaches probably 50 to 100 people, I guess, coming to buy our food each week. We run a volunteer program on Fridays, which sees 15 to 20 people each week. We ran a working bee previously a couple of weeks ago with 45 to 50 volunteers coming. We run education programs for Waratah Special Developmental School. So we're reaching them and their families. And anyone walking past, I guess. It wasn't underutilised. It was mowed for 7, 8 years. I'm not sure how long the school's been there for. But in terms of beautifying the space for people, it sort of reaches the whole suburb.
Thank you. Thanks.
Any further questions? Councillor McKern?
Thank you for your presentation, Mr Turnbull.
Thanks.
I think you provided an excellent explanation of what it is Urban Farm Raiser does, and certainly through the urban food strategy, I too have become more familiar with your good work, and through the urban food strategy, I think you're going to find a more cemented place in the fabric of Banyul. What was once a very well-kept secret is now becoming better known, and I hope that you are receiving more numbers at the farm gate and there's more orders for the veggie boxes. My question to you, Mr Turnbull, is around the financial support you're seeking. It does seem fairly broad brush. Is there anything specific within that financial support that you're looking for the funding for that you might explain to the councillor group?
Yeah, of course. So currently there's 7 people working there. It doesn't just include the on-site farm hours. It includes all the volunteer hours outside of that. And because we've been concentrating on the commercial viability of the farm at the moment, we haven't had any time put aside to be able to concentrate on the education programs, not just for Waratah Special Developmental School, but we also had Diamond Valley Special Developmental School come on site last week. And because of that, concentrating on that commercial viability to pay our wages, salaries, bills, plus the volunteer hours we put at home, we want to have capital to be able to put time into those education programs to make sure it opens up to not just other schools, but weekend workshops for local residents. We want to concentrate on the programs being specialist for people with intellectual disability. And so funding for art, maybe not us, but maybe people who are focused on education and also have horticultural training is what we'd like. No worries.
Any further questions? No. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks.
Next up we have Paula Sardina. Thank you.
Hello and thank you for this opportunity. My feedback is about improving safety on Sherbourne Road, which is a road that runs through the suburbs of Prior Hill and Montmorency. And this feedback is also related to and supported by a petition that I handed to the council last week. I collected 100 signatures, more than 100 signatures, including businesses, educational centres, medical clinics and neighbours that live or work along this road. And in, I guess, organising this petition, I knocked almost every door on Sherbourne Road, and I heard the concerns from the community, and I guess the overall feeling is that the area has been forgotten, and that they feel unsafe on this road, similar to what happened to St Helena Road, and that there's a need of urgent action to make the road safe for the community. So this feedback today and the petition request council to consider for changes and actions on Sherbourne Road. First one is reducing the speed limit on the road. This is a busy road. It connects other roads in the area, which has the same speed limit. But unlike those other roads, this Sherbourne Road has an extensive commercial development, and it includes the Briar Hill shops at the top in Mountain View Road. It also has 2 educational centres, potentially another one being planned, a kindergarten, a childcare, and another childcare that has been proposed. And it has also a number of medical clinics. What they feel is that it's unsafe. There's a lot of movement from cars and pedestrians accessing and exiting these premises. There's also bus stops. 2 buses runs on this road. So, there's a lot of movement across a high volume and high speed traffic. The second one, the previous one, and it's related, everything is related to safety, and it's adding pedestrian refuge islands. This is a long road, there's only 3 crossings, and usually you can see pedestrians, a lot of students crossing the road when it's very unsafe. The third one is, the next one, upgrading all bus stops. You can see these are old, not fit for purpose, they have panel walls. They're not facing the road. You can't see the bus coming. The bus can't see you. So basically, you're always waiting outside under the rain. It's also a perfect hidden spot for littering, as you can see there. And finally, the fourth one is upgrading footpath. I don't know if it's clear there, but they're very old. They're very narrow. They are uneven. And long sections, they have this drain. There is, even narrows more the path, and it's very unsafe for elderly with walking aids and children and families with prams or people with other needs. So I guess that's it. In conclusion, I guess, upgrading and making all these changes will not only increase the safety or make the road safe, but increase the amenity too of the whole area. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Do we have any questions? Councillor Neely.
Thank you. Thank you for that presentation. You've done a lot of work here, and I was just curious to know, from speaking to over 100 of residents that live on the road, what was the most pressing feedback that you received?
The community feels unsafe. There's a lot of traffic at a high speed, and the reality is that it says 60. They go over 60 most of the time, but even 60 is a high speed for a residential area. And I guess it's probably the same for other roads. I mean, the area has changed. There's a lot of units, so there's a lot of people moving in the area. There's a lot of schools too, so students cross to the bus stops. And the reality is, you see students crossing the road against the traffic at 60 kilometers per hour. It's so unsafe. So the main worry is the safety, really. They feel unsafe.
Thank you. Any further questions? No? Well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Rachel Bishop from the Veggie Empire.
Hi everyone. I haven't got a road or a footpath, but we've got friends in high places. Here to speak on behalf of local urban farmers, the Veggie Empire, who now operate under the umbrella of the Caring Farms Co-op. The two-man team has been working towards their chosen vocation of urban farming since 2009, and as such, the longest-standing urban farming crew in Banyule. To establish themselves as horticulturalists, they dedicated many years to skill building through participating first in a disability service, then Learn Local, short courses in horticulture and volunteering at Edendale Farm in Eltham. With the advent of the NDIS, the duo was enabled to engage a team of specialist support workers, we call them supporticulturalists, and established their home at Beals Road Farm on the border of St Helena and Greensborough on a Vic Roads lease. They've been farming there for 8 years. Today, a suite of thriving urban farming enterprises collected under the newly established Caring Farms Co-op provide social and economic participation for its members. On farm, the Veggie Empire team work to grow veggies and herbs that are sold locally, as well as donated in volume to the Green Hills Neighbourhood House. They have a food relief program there. In the farm's food plant nursery, Co-op members grow seedling starts for 3 organic farms in Melbourne's Northern Food Bowl. Veggie Empire retail plants are stocked at a local outlet and sold at the monthly farmers market at Alphington. A worm farming enterprise recycles 100% of the organic waste from a local greengrocer, who in turn purchases veggies and herbs grown on the farm. Caring Farms Co-op makes a significant contribution to the local food system, the economy and community wellbeing on many levels. Food plants grown in the nursery enterprise support local backyard food production, and larger seedling trays provide the essential beginnings of organic food grown on other farms. The produce is sold by these organic growers at Melbourne farmers markets and to restaurants. At the core of Care Farming Co-op's activities are people and their wellbeing and care for the environment. Contributing freshly harvested produce to food relief is integral to the Co-op's food security work. A key commitment of the Co-op is to pay the rent for working on the unceded lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. The work of Caring Farms Co-op has clear links to current priority areas in council plans and strategies, such as the Municipal Health and Wellbeing Plan 21 to 25, the Social Enterprise Action Plan 2020 to 2025, Inclusive Local Job Strategy 2020 to 2025, and the much welcome but yet to be delivered Urban Food Strategy. Members of Caring Farms Co-op respectfully request that Banyule City Council allocate funding in the upcoming budget for the support of urban food production for the benefit of our Banyule community. Thanks.
Thank you for that. Do we have any questions for the Speaker? Councillor McKern.
Thank you, Ms Bishop. Couple of questions. Have you been involved much with the urban food strategy? Have you attended any of the forums and the like?
Yeah, went to a consultation. I think it could have been in this room. No, they all look the same, but yeah.
Yep, so you did attend one of the forums in this room. That's good to know. There's another one coming up you might be interested in on the 25th of March.
That's it.
How is Veggie Farm currently funded? You're seeking funding from council so
I'm
that you
not
can...
necessarily seeking funding, Councillor, for our project, but yet a commitment from the council to fund urban food production more broadly in the council area. So, you know, whether it would be a grant program, an equipment program, you know, our farmers currently are in need of a tractor to rip a bit of ground on a new part of our lease. Well, we have to organise with friends and other farmers to get a tractor down. You know, like there's a lot of real great goodwill between all of the people, well, the two main farms being Farm Raiser and our farm in the local area. You know, we share equipment, we share seed, we share humans, all sorts of things. So, you know, we'd like to encourage other people to do what we do. It's a very simple model that we use, but it, you know, really does pack a punch when it comes to providing food and making a difference to food security.
I think the tenets of your work and your aims is absolutely admirable, and it's a large part of what we're addressing in the urban food strategy. You'd be aware, given that you've been involved, that we are currently preparing an action plan as part of that strategy. I'm hoping that some of the things you're talking about tonight will be addressed as part of that action plan so that we can look at allocating future funding. So I'm hoping that everything you're saying tonight will be contributed and included in that action plan, notwithstanding what you're here for tonight, but we'd like to see it there too. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks very much. Okay.
Thank you. Next up, we have Robin Roberts.
Thank you, Mayor and Councillors. I just wanted to speak about the process because I wasn't in at the ground floor. I didn't realise, first of all, I didn't realise people were going to make submissions on their prep projects, that this was the thrust of what was going on, because what I saw on the Banyule website was about high-level aims in the survey. So I think perhaps the way that this process was advertised, perhaps it should be changed, because it's been really interesting listening to the submissions and the more detailed explanations that people are giving to councillors. I'm sure you're finding it very valuable. But there might be other people out in the community who would like to make these sorts of submissions, and perhaps they haven't been given the heads up that this is the process to do so, because it wasn't the way it was presented on the website. My submission on the website criticised the questions in the survey, which were very motherhood. Do you agree with this? And a very long sentence with lots of aspects to it that all sounded very positive. But when you drill down into any detail of what might result from that, there might not be everything that you agreed with. So I found it very hard to answer. It wasn't explicit enough. I don't know how it would be valuable apart from this is what we are going to write in our document. We'd just like you to give us a tick without giving much detail. The more detailed thing was in the budget fine detail, which was massive, too much for me to go through. But what I would say to Council, having the opportunity now tonight, is that when you do the budget, I'm wanting you to spend more money on engagement with community, on your major programs, on the major things that you do, because we're finding over these recent years that the Council just does web surveys and isn't spending the time, and obviously time takes money, speaking to residents. So, for example, the Urban Forest Strategy has 3 meetings coming up, but only 1 hour is allocated for each meeting. Normally for an important project like that, we'd have a 2-hour meeting so that the Council can present, and then a third of the meeting or a half of the meeting is questions from the public. A 1-hour meeting, I'd be surprised if there's 2 questions allowed in time from the public on the project. So I think, and many things don't get any public engagement. It's just a survey on the website. So I'd like Council to go back to spending money on engagement with the community and taking it more seriously. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hang on a second. Do we have any questions? No, that's okay. Oh, there's one. Councillor McKern.
Thank you, Robin, for your presentation and for highlighting the need for sound community consultation. Are there any major projects that you have in mind other than the urban forest strategy coming up that we might consider a stronger community consultation program than what you've suggested we've been doing?
Well, most of the ones around planning. So, for example, the state government said that the council had to do a review of the neighbourhood character strategy and the housing policy together. And initially, council senior staff were worried that we were going to have our neighbourhood character policy undermined. Now, we've had a refresh of staff and I don't see that they seem as worried. We were meant to start consultation on the neighbourhood character strategy this year. We're already up to March. We haven't heard a thing. We asked last year, could we have an education meeting about the planning scheme to understand where the flaws are in neighbourhood character? The head of planning said, oh yes, we do those all the time. I'm happy to do that for you. But we had it pushed back into this year when we could have started as a community understanding the issues back then. And I think it comes down to funding, that there's not the funding in the budget of those departments to have these community engagements. And so I had an email from Joel Elborn earlier this year saying that that forum wasn't going to happen as part of the neighbourhood character project. So it just feels like with the most important things that are going to have huge effects on everybody, the livability of the whole all the suburbs, we're not putting the energy and the money into it. And it's great to spend money on all the special projects. And I know you have to weigh up the cost benefit of all those projects, and that you will, with the assistance of the staff. But I think what gets left behind is the general things, and that's just an example. But I think more needs to be done with the urban forest strategy as well. But we've also had, with the urban forest strategy, the manager, which Mr Garotti arranged for me to speak to him earlier this year, say that the council laws had ruled out having any change to planning as part of that urban forest strategy. But really the most damage is being done by urban development reducing tree canopy on residential land, which is 60% of Banyule. We will never have an urban forest if we don't address issues in planning. Initially, the staff engaged with another friend and I
Thank you, Robin. Could we
suggesting
wrap
that,
up?
yes, suggesting that we would look into some areas we could improve in planning. So I was a bit disappointed to hear it ruled out by the manager of the project. Yeah. So, thanks.
Mr Mayor, I might just say the residents this evening have made some excellent suggestions for us councillors to consider.
Thank you, Councillor. I might just call up next is Benjamin Charles. Are you here now? Yes.
Sorry, I was late and I was addressed to speak second. I'm kind of glad I was here to hear all the parallels of the frustrations around accessibility and residents' roadways and how we can get around and what we are doing as a community about consultation as well. So there are a lot of parallels. My concerns are around this rail crossing project that's happening between Greensborough and Montmorency. Congestion, 24-hour industrial noise, bright lights, roadworks, hoarding, traffic management, reduced access, lack of parking, and basically just a major disturbance has become commonplace in the last 24 months. And our current notification says that the worst is yet to come. And all of this disturbance is going to offer very little for the residents that are in that direct area. There are several areas of concern I'd like to address, but I only have 3 minutes. The 4 priorities I see is the end of Railway Parade. The bottom is unsafe for pedestrians. There is no pedestrian access whatsoever. There is no access for any Briar Hill residents to head to the Plenty River Trail. There is planning about more pedestrian lights to get to Greensborough to access through a shared derelict driveway that has cars that go down there, and that's just not adequate. There is no planned access for Briar Hill residents to access the shared walking path that connects Montmorency and Greensborough train stations. And the upgrades to E.J. Andrews Park are just grossly out of touch with what the residents need. And the residents' feedback was largely ignored. The end of Railway Parade has no pedestrian avenues whatsoever, and it's unsafe. I ask, how has this been allowed to occur? There's no access for wheelchairs, there's no access for prams, there's no access for bikes. And the rail crossing team themselves offered this. The walking and cycling shared path will connect the Greensborough and Montmorency train stations and provide safe and easy access between the 2 stations. But there is no access for any of the residents. They go on to say that the pedestrian access to Railway Road is outside the scope of the project. However, the project team has provided community feedback to Banyule City Council about pedestrian access. So I'd ask, what are we doing about it? The residents have no access to the walking path whatsoever linking the 2 stations, and there is not access to the Plenty River Trail. There is a planned pedestrian line and there is a shared driveway I spoke about that is already existing, that is accessible from Greensborough, not Briar Hill. Okay, this contradicts the council's own guidelines about connected pathways, of which the suburb of Briar Hill has none. There is no access to the Plenty River Trail from Briar Hill residents. There is also the E.J. Andrews Park, which is acting as a building site throughout the entire project. It's limited open space for any residents in Briar Hill. And again, if you read the public place planning document provided by the council themselves, Briar Hill is the least well provided suburb in terms of public open space in the whole of Banyule. The whole of Banyule. I've been seeking clarity as to why the upgrades and parklands are only catering for less than 2% of the population. The planned upgrades are for younger children, primarily with disabilities. And that is great, I'm all for that, I really am. But what about the 12-year-olds that are able-bodied who want to get off a screen and find a way to be active in the community? Presently, the only place to do anything is Briar Hill Primary School, which I donated 2 nets to because they couldn't afford to put nets up. And going there on a weekend, there are kids everywhere just playing with these basketball rings. I'd ask that you make yourself more familiar with the $500 million project which is happening. I'd like to know the clarity of the residents, just like you. I'd like access for people just like you. And I'd like to know why everyone's being ignored through this process, because I've been on this for 8 months banging a desk with MPs, with councillors, with rail crossing, with ombudsman, and I'm just a dad. That's why I'm late. Why are residents being ignored? That's my question.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions for the Speaker?
Just thank you for your information. And you've said that you've been advocating for 8 months, but has it been over years that you've noticed the change to the area because you've lived there a while?
I scanned a QR code that was at EJ Edgeries Park to see what the upgrades would be, and then I peeled back the onion about where's the access, where's the pedestrians, is there going to be ramp access for bikes and prams, how do we access Plenty River Trail? So the last 8 months has just led me to that, and all I've wanted is some evidence as to how we've reached these decisions and why this is the best way to spend our money. Because apart from a train that drives past every 7 minutes, there's nothing in it for any residents in the Briar Hill suburb. And I'd encourage you to come and sleep in my room and see what it's like having that light shining in your window for the last 6 months, with more to come.
Another question, Councillor Melican.
Council's made similar requests and very disappointed with the response we have from the Rail Authority, particularly the access into the Plenty River Trail. We've pushed exactly these same issues with the state government and the Rail Crossing Authority and got not much more response than you have. So do you expect council to pay for this, or do you think we should be lobbying the state government to actually...
Okay, so what planning is in place to access the Plenty River Trail for residents of Briar Hill at the moment?
Well, my understanding is that, and it's not my area, but we have put a request in, and there's a fairly strong advocacy piece we have done to have a pedestrian bridge put in to provide that access, and that they haven't committed to that project or to include that in the project to date.
And how do pedestrians access the shared walking path from Railway Road? How do they access that?
My understanding at this stage is no...
There's no access to the shared walking path that leads to the train stations that carry pedestrians. It would seem that we seem to be contradicting why we're doing this for. Okay, there are solutions as to how you can access the Plenty River Trail from Railway Road. There are solutions around how you can access pedestrian around the back of the bridge, but none of these are being explored because they seem to be too hard. There are solutions around EJ Andrew Park and accessibility for children that are able-bodied 12-year-olds, but the answer from council is to walk 22 minutes to Montmorency Park when we upgrade it in 2024. That's the solutions.
I don't think that's the answer from council.
I've got the email today that was sent from council.
But we have lobbied these exact same improvements to this project, and they have not been forthcoming from the
Okay, so what's the solution for residents then, to just not do anything?
Look, thank you for coming in tonight. We'll have a response to those questions that you've put to us, and I'm sure we'll go out and have a look.
Glad you asked lots of questions about veggie patches.
The next speaker is Sue Harris. Would you make your way up to the lectern? Thank you.
Mayor, councillors. Reconciliation Manual is a volunteer-based organisation working for Indigenous justice over more than 20 years. We've collaborated with Council's efforts around Sorry Day and Reconciliation Week events, the development of Barwon Beak, and in our participation on Council's RAP Advisory Committee. Last December, we spoke in strong support of Council's motion to endorse the Uluru Statement from the Heart and the Voice, and we're glad it was unanimously supported. We applaud Council's leadership in matters of First Peoples equity, opportunity and access, and in building reconciled relationships and understanding between Banyul's people. We strongly believe we need open and honest conversations at the grassroots level to include and support well-informed people across our diverse community. Reconciliation Banyule has strong partnerships with community organisations and is well connected with residents through our networks. We did suffer setbacks during the pandemic years, so now we're strengthening engagement and rebuilding capacity. Next one. It would be clear by now that we're a long-standing organisation closely aligned with Council's commitments. In Council's 2009 commitment to Indigenous Australians, with your Innovate Reconciliation Action Plan of 220 and 2022 endorsement of the Uluru Statement urging voice, treaty and truth. We are aligned too with your budget initiatives in your inclusive and connected community, which we are responding to here. And this includes Council's RAP plan implementation, Barboon Beak activation, and the Uluru Statement from the Heart. And the next one. Reconciliation Banyule's proposal will support Council's efforts in reconciliation. We seek investment of $9,000 from Banyule City Council's budget for Reconciliation Banyule's community-led engagement activities, building capacity across the community, working with partners and bringing the community together. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Do we have any questions for the Speaker? No, thank you. Next up, we have Tim Carr from the Banyule Junior Football Club.
Thank you all. Next slide, thanks. The Banyule Junior Football Club and Banyule Junior Cricket Club and Banyule Senior Football Club are co-tenants of the Beverley Road Pavilion. Our clubs are of the opinion that the pavilion is no longer fit for purpose and should be demolished and rebuilt. The pavilion continues to place limits on the growth of each of our clubs in terms of being a female-friendly and child-safe environment, and no longer allows us to achieve our maximum potential as a premier sporting venue and a vibrant community hub. A modern, purpose-built and eco-friendly facility will benefit both the clubs and broader Banyule community for many years to come. The pavilion was first constructed in 1975. The pavilion caters for football and cricket players training and competing on the Beverley Road and AJ Burkett ovals. On any given week of the year, the pavilion caters for 20 junior football teams, includes 4 female teams that train on Monday through to Thursday evenings each week and play matches each Sunday, or 4 senior football teams, includes 1 female team, that train on Tuesdays through to Thursday evenings and play 4 matches every second Saturday at the ground. 17 junior cricket teams, includes 1 female and 5 senior teams and 2 veteran teams that train and play Monday through to Sunday. We're a big organisation. The pavilion is also used for Auskick and cricket blast programs that encourage 4 to 8-year-old children to participate in sport. Family fundraising days, evenings are held at the pavilion, as well as community-orientated programs that are attended by players and their families. First aid, mental health training for parents and volunteers, for match day development, as well as personal development courses for players, coaches, committee members, and committee meetings and AGMs are held at the pavilion. The pavilion is also used during the week by schools, both at a local and regional level, for sports that include football, cricket and athletics. Our clubs believe that a redeveloped facility could host many more activities with greater utilisation through the week. Our key issues that we've identified in our submission, we're looking at a kitchen that's undersized, hard to clean, suffers from constant electrical issues. change rooms that are undersized, offer no female privacy, poor ingress and egress, and are currently incorrectly orientated. Issues with umpires' room, issues with sizing in our social area, inadequate storage space to house sports-related gear. We have to clean out at the end of each season and put our items in paid storage, or it's stored at other members' houses. Timekeepers often exposed to weather, only one male-female public toilet, no dedicated first aid, table chair storage or cleaner rooms, no caged rubbish storage or recycling capability. We believe that realignment of the pavilion will also alleviate spectators looking directly in the afternoon sun when viewing games played on Beverley Road Oval, which takes away your vision of the game that's played, and unable to achieve carbon neutral sustainability targets with the current pavilion. Our incredible new oval that's being redeveloped, next slide, thanks, deserves an incredible new clubhouse. Next slide, thanks. Thank you, Mayor Castaldo and councillors for hearing me tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? Councillor Milligan?
Is that a sketch of potentially what the new club rooms could look like?
Yeah, it's a fairly generic footprint that's been optimised to fit into our little envelope that the current clubhouse is on, and it's just, it's utilising a lot more room than what we currently have, just through better design.
It's not that long since the toilets were upgraded to female friendly. You're saying that the whole room thing needs to go and start again?
Yeah, I wouldn't class the redesign as female friendly. I just class it as an upgrade of the toilet facilities. It offers no privacy for anyone who goes in the toilets. So if the rooms are being used for female players, you've still got male and female adults in the rooms with clear vision into the toilet facilities. So in no way it's a female friendly setup there.
And if you build it in the same position, how will that fix the issues with the glare of the sun and the...
It'll be reorientated slightly. So we, from our architectural submissions that we've been making into it, just slight reorientation is going to assist with that. It's only a minor issue. You can use your hands to guide the way, but if we're redeveloping something, that's one of the issues that we'd look into.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. We've got a couple of speakers that weren't here earlier that we'll come back to. Is Calvin Kamungai here? No, still not here. And the last speaker is Mark Poinder. Not here as well. Okay, so that's it for the speakers this evening. As we have no further speakers, this concludes tonight's hearing submissions component of the Councillor Feedback Forum. It's great to have received written and verbal submissions throughout the community consultation period as well. To recap the next steps as outlined by the CEO at the start following the hearing of feedback tonight, Council officers will assess all feedback and provide recommendations to Council. Formal consideration of community feedback to the budget and draft plans and officer recommendations will occur at the Council meeting scheduled for the 17th of April 2023. The full draft budget 2023 to 27, draft Council Plan 21 to 25, draft Year 3 Action Plan 23-24 and draft Revenue and Ratings Plan will be presented to Council on the 29th of May 2023 for final exhibition. Proposed adoption of the budget and associated plans is scheduled for the 26th of June 2023 Ordinary Council meeting. I would like to highlight that for the ordinary council meeting scheduled on the 17th of April, there will be no request to speak options for any community members wishing to speak to the officer report on whether the submissions have been included in the draft budget. The formal hearing process for this councillor feedback forum and community members are not given a second opportunity to speak to their submissions at that later time. I now thank all those people within our community for their participation, time and effort in preparing their submissions. It has been great to hear the feedback, and with that, good night to everyone, and I formally close tonight's forum at 8:52 p.m. Thank you.